Okay, you guys, now here is some extra fabric that I had in my stash. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut our 2.5 strips out for our crochet blanket. And what you see, all I've done was I folded it once, because this is the fold, and then I folded it again. Okay, this is an easy way, to cut your strips out, so you don't have to, have that long piece of fabric. And so let's get right to this. So what you see right here, this is a cutting mat, and each square is an inch. So 1 inch, 2 inch, and then a half. The thin line is a 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're going to count over 2.5 inches. I have my rotary cutter and I have my ruler. So let's do that. So 1, 2.5. We're going to place our ruler on the half mark. And we're going to cut our fabric. Close up our rotary blade, which is very important. We do not want to be getting cut. And there you go. It's a long piece of 2.5 inches. We'll do that one more time. And so we're already at the half. So let's go 2 over, right? So half, so all we do is 2. 1 and 2. And that will give us 2.5. Okay, let's cut. Okay, and once again we have our 2.5 strips, and you will continue to do that until you meet your required amount that you need for your blanket. Okay, you guys, so we're going to take our 2 pieces, our strips, and we're going to sew them together. Okay, so I have the 2 strips right here, and this is me using some of my scraps of my fabrics, because we were talking about using our scraps, which is great. And so this is some of my scraps. So I have 2 of them together, so I can sew them so we can put our fabric around our crochet blanket. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, and we're just going to stitch straight down right here. And I'm going to use I have this right here because it's it helps me with the 1/4 inch. That is usually the typical stitch that you use for quilting. So I quilt, so I just leave this right here, and a 1/4 inch stitch is fine. And if you do not have a sewing machine, you guys, that is fine as well. You can totally hand stitch this. Okay, so we're just joining them together so they can be longer. Okay, because we need it to wrap around our whole blanket. Okay, so that's what I've done right there, and you can use the same color thread. Let me take my pen. I pinned it, and you can use the same color thread, but you will not see the thread. And so when we open this up, that's what we get. And so we're just going to be joining them, all the way down, because this is the scrap. Now, if you get a piece of fabric that actually is the length, they usually come in like 43, 40, 42 inches long off of the bolt. And that is basically the thing that is wrapped around the fabric. When you go into the fabric stores like Joann's, you'll see that that is what's the length of the fabric. Okay, so let me join one more to show you. So as you see, I have some right here, and because there's no print, there's no wrong side or right side, I am just laying it down right here like that, and then I'm just gonna stitch it. And you know, I love this right here. There's a lot of notions that they have, so you can be an accurate 1/4 of an inch, but I like it because it just don't have me run over as well. If that make any sense. So okay, so we're gonna go ahead and stitch this down. Okay, and there we go. Okay, you guys, so now we've already then stitched our 2.5 strips together, and now what we're going to do, we're going to iron them. We're going to iron the seams open, because if we iron them this way and that way, it'll be too much bulk. So we want to just iron them open. And I have my iron here, so we just want to iron those open. And I'll show you what I'm talking about, because what we're going to do next is we're going to fold them together like this. Okay, so if we fold them together, we don't want that big old, that big old bulk right here as we're stitching it down to our blanket. So let's do this one. Okay, and so we just want to continue to do that. So where you stitched your fabric together, go ahead and open up your seams, iron that down, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, you guys, I am all done with the binding. And what you see before you right here, you guys, I brought an alternative. If you did not want to cut your strips, these are sold at Joann's, Walmart. I've seen some at Walmart before. You can totally get them online. These are 2.5 strips. They have them, these are called half rolls, and this is called a jelly roll. So I wanted to show you guys this just in case you did not want to cut your strips. Yeah, if you just didn't want to cut your strips or anything, you can totally go buy them and do the same method. And what you see right here, you guys, you actually see the blanket that I'm actually going to put the binding on. I did a single crochet all the way around twice to prepare for my binding. Because of the squares, I did not want to put, sew in the holes, in the spaces, not holes, in the spaces right here. So I did a single crochet all the way around. Okay, so let's go right to the sewing machine and get started putting our binding on. Okay? Okay, you guys, so we are at the sewing machine right now, and I have my binding, got my blanket. I've already set everything up. So when I start sewing, I have a pin right here just to, hold it down as I was placing it under the sewing machine. Now, when you are sewing your binding onto your crochet blanket, you want your raw edges to be all the way up top right here where your single crochet stitches are. Okay, because when you flip it over, you want to have enough room so you can so you can't take it over this, and then you're going to sew up the back part. Okay, so let's get going. Oh, one more thing, you guys. As you can see, I have like a 2.5, probably like 2.5 inch flap here, because when I take it all the way around, I am going to join the two ends together, and you need to pull it up. So I always leave myself like two inches from my when I'm starting. Now, when you are starting this, you never start in the corners, because it will be hard for you to actually join your two pieces together. So you can start anywhere but a corner. Okay? Alrighty, so let's get sewing. And if you guys, if you need to pin, you know, if you have some pins, even if you don't have pins, that's fine too. You just make sure that everything is up here, up top, on the edge. So edge to edge. We can say it like that, edge to edge, so everything can be up top. Is there anything else? No, that's about it. Take your time, enjoy the process as you are, you know, sewing your thing down. And if you are going to hand stitch, oh, what a treat. If you're going to hand stitch this, I believe it will be probably like a running stitch, kind of tight, not loose, and enjoy the process of that. I have hand stitched some bindings before, and I'm trying to tell you, you trying to say relaxing? It was so relaxing to do that motion. I had such a good time. I was actually just in my craft room, and just, it was quiet, and it was just so peaceful. It was so nice. And so if you are hand stitching, enjoy. Okay, so I'm just going to continue, you guys, all the way onto the top, and I'll stitch a little bit more, and then when we get to the corners, I want to show you guys how to do your corners. Okay, you see me, I'm just keeping the top part to this edge part right here. So let's just go ahead and continue to do that. And so, yep, that's what I'll be doing. Okay, you guys, and I will see you at the first corner. Alrighty. Okay, you guys, we are at the first corner, and I want to show you guys how to turn. You know, when you're turning your binding, you're putting it on. Show you what you need to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to sew all the way down into this space. Now, it's usually 1/4 of an inch that you you sew to, and then you cut your threads, and then I'll show you what you do after that. But we're going to sew right here down to this space because it's a granny square, so I'm just going to sew right to the space. That's going to be my marker. Make sure. There's my space. And I'm gonna back stitch. So if you are hand sewing, you just, put 2 running stitches, to lock your thread in there. Now, what we're gonna do is, so I sew down to that space. Now what you're going to do, you're going to take your binding and you're going to pivot going to the right, like this. Okay? So you have this little angle here, like that, right? So you can see. So you have that, and you want it to be like that, that motion. Right there, okay? So then you can take your finger where you stitched and take it over your finger and bring that down. Move your finger out the way. Bring it down where it's nice and straight. where it's lined up right here. And so when you, so then you have this flap right here, okay, and then that's gonna hang down there, okay. So I'm gonna do that again. So we're sewing. You want to pivot your binding to the right, stick your finger right here, take it over your finger, straighten it out. So now you have this flap. Now what I do, because we're going to need to turn our blanket, I usually stick a pin here until I get here. Until after I turn it, I'll stick a pin right there. And then I'll turn my blanket. Let's get it all nice and turned. So I turn my blanket and I just make sure it's all nice and straight now at this point. And my blanket is kind of big. So I love making blankets, you guys. The bigger, the better for me. And so I'm just going to straighten this out. Okay. And so now what we want to do is we want to stitch right here, starting from the corner all the way down. Okay. And then we'll just start right here, and then we'll just continue stitching. When we get to our next corner, we'll be doing the same exact thing. Okay. So that's what I wanted to show you guys with the corners. So let me go ahead and stitch this. I'm going to bring that out some. Right. Let's put that down. And I usually do a back stitch, you know, to lock that in. So, and if you are, once again, if you are hand stitching, you go ahead and do a double, whatever stitch you decide in. I know I am saying a running stitch, but whatever stitch you decide to bind your binding down, just, you know, do it a couple of times so you can lock that stitch in. And so I'm just going to continue sewing. Adjusting. Sewing and adjusting. And I don't know if I said this in the video, you guys, but I know it might be a little too late, but your raw edges needs to be up. And I can't remember if I told you guys. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. But yeah, your raw edges are up and your fold is down. And so we'll just continue on. So, okay, you guys, so I'm going to go work my way all the way back around, and I will meet you guys when I'm all done. Okay, you guys, I have went all the way around. Pull my strings there. I went all the way around, and so now what you see is, you see this long tail here, and you see this is where we started and this is where we ended. Now, this is the gap that we have to close up. So with this, you guys, you really got to eyeball this. You only have that much. What I tend to do when it's like that for me, I usually just cut probably like an inch off, you know, an inch from, you know, because if you see, you don't have that much, but you do want to have enough where you're able to grab it up and sew it. Okay, so I'm just going to overlap it. And I'm just really going to cut probably about an inch off of here. So let me get my scissors. And let me cut. Maybe I should get my other scissors. Those are my little snips. but it should be okay. And I'm going to cut a good inch off of it. Okay, so we cut about an inch off. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do right sides together. Okay, so I'm going to open it up, that side, and then this side right here. Okay, so that would be right sides together. Okay, so you twist it, twist that one, so right sides together. Even though there's no side, I'm going to do that again just in case you didn't see. So there's flat right here, and I overlapped it for about an inch. And so now we're going to open it up and we're going to turn it. So this would be, I call it right sides because the fabric is upward. It's up. So right side facing right side, or however you can remember this. I know everyone do not learn the same. You can just do the little twist, the same as right here, the little twist. Okay, so I'm actually going to put a pin right here. My blanket is heavy. So I'm going to put a pin right there. So let's put one so it doesn't move when I sew it. And you know what, guys, for a long time I had to really figure this out on my own, as far as, you know, my own kind of learning. Because sometimes when I watch some videos or read a book about how to do something, I have to figure it out myself so I can understand it. Because I know there's all kind of ways of learning how to do one thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to sew straight across. And I'm going to back stitch. There we go. Cut our threads. Take our pin out. Let's see. Did I do it? Okay, so you have that, right? So now after you sew, you just fold it back together. And so now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and finish sewing it. And then that will be it. So we're going to start back right here. Just grab everything. And once again, make sure you are, you know, sewing or hand sewing right here at the top. I'm going to back stitch because I started a new one. Let me get the blanket. The blanket is nice and heavy, which I love, you guys. I love making blankets. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it. I absolutely love it. Just right there. Okay, you guys. All right. So we are finished taking it all the way around. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we can all the way around. So now what we're going to do, you can take this and you can take an iron, just a really light iron, and you can, you know, iron this like this. So when you put your binding on, when you sew it on the other side now, because we're just going to turn this like this and sew on the back side. Okay? And you can totally iron it out so it can be, you ain't got to struggle trying to pull it as you're sewing. And it would be like this. And how pretty. How pretty. And then we'll just sew it on this side right here. Okay, you guys, so I will see you in a few minutes. Let me set everything up and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I am back, and I want to show you what I've done so far. So when we finished, it looked like this. I wanted to show you guys. So it looked like this. And so what I've done is I actually went to the iron and I opened it up. And then right over here, I can show you right here. Right over here is these clips that I have to fold over my binding, and they are called Wonder Clips. They come in multiple sizes. You can get them online, and that's the name of them, Wonder Clips. They really help me when I am doing my binding, so I can go just a little bit faster. I don't have to, hold it and turn it over. It's already done for me. So I just take my time and I get as close as I possibly can to the edge right here. So that's the goal, to get as close as I can right here to the edge as I'm stitching, okay? And so when I get around here, because I didn't have enough Wonder Clips, so when I get around, all the way around, and I'll clip this side and finish that side off. But right now, let's go and do some stitching so I can show you what this looks like. Okay. There we go. And I just take my time, you guys, because that's what it's about. Relaxing, enjoying the process, and taking my time. And so as I am stitching this, you guys, I am, just straightening it out as I go, and I am just taking my time. Just taking my time as I go. Yeah, and so that's it, you guys, and I'll be doing this all the way around, and I will come back when I'm done. Okay guys, what I did off camera, I'm stitching this, so I'm at my first corner. So I wanted to just let you guys see what that looks like. Okay, so right here I'm going to stitch down some more. Now, if you see me pull this right here, I'm not actually pulling it. I'm actually guiding it because I want it to be straight. Okay? So I am guiding it. And it's just like how we put the binding on. You're going to need to adjust. Take your time. Adjust. Stitch. Take your time. And if you are hand sewing, you will not have none of these problems at all. It'll be sitting in your lap and you will just be stitching it. You can stitch this way, or you can do a running stitch. Totally up to you how you would do that. But sewing machine, this is what we're doing. So I'm going to stitch all the way down to right here to the corner. Okay. Oops. Okay, so I didn't, when I came to the corner, you guys, now the way we did that flap, all I did is I brought that over like this, and then I just took this part over, okay, and then that's how you do your corner when you're sewing it. And so I would sew up to this point, and then I would turn it around to go this way. And so I'll do that on camera to show you. Okay. But see, here's our little flip. When we flipped it over, that's what it looked like. And then I just want to pull it a little. Have it go down. And a stitch. And I'm always so careful right here. And I usually put a little tack right there to hold that fold. And then I would pivot well, actually I cut my threads, I'm sorry. I usually cut my threads. And then I start, turn it around, and then I'll start up this way. Just take that out of there. And so I'm going to start right here, you guys, and I'm just going to stitch down. Okay, and that would hold that fold close. Okay. So let's put that under there. And remember, we want to stitch as close as we can to the edge right here. Okay, so that's where I'm going to put my needle, right here on the edge. Let me get it under here. It's kind of a little bulky. This is one of my machines. It is a Brother. I do have a Juki. I love my Juki, guys. She is so beautiful. I love my Brother too, but I really like my Juki. She's such a workhorse. Okay. So let me see. Let me get started. Press your foot down. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. Yes, I am. So I'm going to stitch right there. I'm going to hold everything steady. And then just stitch it down. Okay. Okay, and I'm just taking my time, and you see me, I'm just adjusting, taking my time, making sure I am staying as close as I can to the edge. And if you happen to just, you know, stay so close, it's okay. But, you know, that's just the ultimate goal, because when you're crafting, you gotta enjoy it, right? And I'll stitch a little more, and then I'll show you what that corner looks like. Okay, let me bring some more over to me. Let's see, do we have? Stitch a little more, and I'll bring that corner out. And so I'm just stitching, taking my time, stitching, adjusting. And so here's that corner. I don't know if you can see it right there. Got to cut my little threads, but that's the corner right there. See? That's our corner. Hope you guys are able to see everything. And let's take my clip. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go and stitch all the way around, and I will be back with the finished product. Okay, I don't want to have you guys watch me stitch this all the way around. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I am back. I'm done. I went all the way around to put our binding. Doesn't it look so beautiful? I really enjoyed doing this. I hope you do give it a try. Take your time, relax, enjoy it. If you hand stitch, oh man, it's just gonna be so relaxing for you and so joyous. So just take your time, guys, relax and try it. You won't regret it. And when you pick up your blanket and you see the finished look that it have, you're gonna absolutely love it. So if you guys like the tutorial today, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing on my channel, go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss an upload video tutorial when I put one up for you guys. Okay, you guys, so that is it for me. I will see you guys on the next tutorial video. And remember, when you're working with your hands, you always have peace within your heart. I will see you soon. Bye.